What's good? I'm BT, and I'm just talking about life in general. I talk about various different topics on this channel, but the topic of discussion on this particular video is entrepreneurs are going back to working regular 9 to 5s. And let's get into it. And I myself, I work a traditional 9 to 5. I'm in tech sales, and it's crazy because oddly enough, it's a handful of guys that I've been dealing with for literally upwards to about 15 years. Young fellas, they're in their late 30s. Some of them are older, some of them are in their 40s. And on the outside looking in, they had a thriving business, right? And it's two sides to this coin, right? It's the myth and the reality. The myth is that you are your own boss, right? And you answer to yourself. You're accountable for daily operations and the income that your business brings in. The reality of it all is the fact that uncertain income, or it may be various different things that may happen in your field of work. Who's to say that instead of on-site services, people are opting into remote services, meaning that they want somebody to do something remote and then they find it at a cheaper cost. And it's unfortunate, because sometimes cheap may be expensive later on, because you may have the skill set to be of value to your customers, but bottom line, if they can't retain your services because the simple fact that they just can't afford you, then that's just what it is. And which kind of leads you, the entrepreneur, unless you have a crazy clientele and you're undeniably the best, and you know your your clients don't want to go elsewhere, and still you don't want to come down on your price, because your price is your price, and this is how you make your livelihood. This what sustains you as a business owner, and what helps every aspect of you actually being an entrepreneur, right? It has got to the point where some businesses just need to cut various different things to really stay afloat. And it's an unfortunate thing. And which kind of leads the entrepreneur or the independent contractor to like go back to actually working a regular 9 to 5. And it could also be other different variables too. If you're an independent contractor and you just pretty much depending on all your clients and whatever work, that uncertainty in fluctuation of income, that could definitely look at a 9 to 5 like, man, it's stable, it's consistent. If I work X amount of hours per week, I know exactly what I'm gonna bring home. Another thing that can kind of come into play is I had one of my guys tell me that, just for the simple fact that his family was getting bigger and he needed the health insurance, right? He needed health insurance. And obviously, if you work at an employer, you very well can get pretty decent health insurance. It may be rolled into your paycheck, right? You might get took it out your paycheck every week, and all these things are looking good. So many factors that these guys have told me, and I kind of aspired to be like them. A lot of these guys started their businesses like when I first started at my place of work, and I admired them, but just seeing them actually go back to working a regular 9 to 5, I'm just wondering, like, man, is it really worth it? you know do you still press on and just still aspire to be your own boss? All these things come with a cost. Work-life balance, being away from your family quite a bit for long hours, all these different things come into play. That was another thing some of the guys said, that they were working longer hours just for the simple fact that for one, help is hard to find. everybody don't have the same type of work ethic or skill set, and ultimately, by them being like the owner, the independent contractor, the the one that's running the show, you got to make sure things are done right. If people have to constantly call you back, or potentially even seek another contractor, that could ruin your chances of business or even obtaining any other new customers. So, it's a scary place out here. Some people, they don't need to be a entrepreneur. If you are considering, being an entrepreneur, these are various different things that you have to consider, long hours, burnout, clientele, uncertain income, and that's where you have to weigh your options. And then another thing is to really have multiple streams of income. So a lot of the guys that I have seen that's been they still come in, and I was talking to them. They have various different they have multiple streams of income. Some have rental properties, some actually legitimately was in stocks or had really good portfolio, right? And all these things actually help their business like stay afloat. Or some guys had like a undeniable skill set where their clients, they don't care how much that the company is charging or the independent contractor is charging. Their work is just that undeniable, and they don't want to place their care or their business in nobody else's hands. So but tell me what y'all think. If you're an entrepreneur out there and you have returned back to your 9 to 5, tell me, was it hard like towards the end? And these are a lot of things, that people consider, when they're were independent contractors or business owners for a long period of time, and went back to working a 9 to 5, just for stability and a consistent check. So leave a comment down below if you have experienced this, or if you had a friend or a family member that owned their own business. Share this with them. Share your story. Give me some insight. All right, everybody, I appreciate you listening to what I gotta say, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.